All right, so today is the first webinar in our series, Removing the Haze from ITSM. So whether you already own ServiceNow or are considering it as your future platform, we really hope to share some information with you that'll be of value. All right, a little bit about me. I have been in customer support in one way or another over the last 16 years. And while I've been with InSource just over a year, I previously came from Service Desk. So I managed the Service Desk there, and ITSM and customer satisfaction are really near and dear to my heart. So while I have admin various other ITSM applications, I get to work with my favorite platform every day. After the webinar, we're going to follow up with you, provide some links to this video and the slide deck. I want to share some resources that'll help get you guys started on improving your customer satisfaction immediately. Last year at ServiceNow's Knowledge 17 conference, InSource was given the award for highest number of implementations. We're just really proud to be recognized for that experience and helping our own customers improve and achieve their goals. Not only are we experts in IT service management, we can also help with other applications within the ServiceNow platform. If you're not already familiar, customer service management, CSM, and ITSM are actually a little different. CSM will allow you to assist customers that are completely external to your organization. These are customers or businesses that have purchased your services or products that you need to be able to support. So while these two suites are actually different, the topics that we're discussing today are really applicable to both. We also offer advisory services. We can help with staff augmentation or even an Okta and Pure Storage partner. I'm really grateful to have had the opportunity to work with many of these wonderful customers here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area where I am located. I've worked with the University of North Texas, Interstate Batteries, Pier 1 Imports, a couple of great projects and continual service improvement for these guys. So what's in it for me? If you are a shared service provider supporting external customers, retention is most important. It's easier and cheaper to retain a current customer than it is to obtain new ones. So keeping your customers happy, it's really going to drive those positive referrals. Negative reviews, they're only going to impact your revenue and your business growth. So we don't want that. If you are supporting internal customers, such as corporate employees, they may not have a choice who their service provider is. However, customer satisfaction is also very important here. Jobs, promotions, bonuses, they can all be at stake. It means that increased customer satisfaction, could directly impact the success of your career. So customers aren't receiving consistent service for a variety of reasons. And from their perspective, it doesn't matter why. They just want to have a better experience. So let's go over some of these business challenges. Tier 0 self-help is the cheapest form of support. However, customers often don't have a service portal to find knowledge in order to serve themselves. And without a service portal, they cannot submit or track their own tickets, which only increases your call volume and their frustration. As we all know, the lifespan of a typical call agent or technician, it's really short, and it makes tribal knowledge practically useless. So often knowledge is not documented, it's not up to date, it's in a variety of locations, making it completely unreliable to use. Also, many companies have some documented processes, but they're not always well defined. It's just leaving way too much room for inconsistencies. On top of all of this, organizations struggle with actionable reporting because goals are not adequately being measured and they're not even being defined. So how can you aim for a goal when you don't know where you are today? The goal is to start measuring in order to understand your current performance and implement that continual service improvement in order to achieve new goals. So once you hit that goal, you want to reassess, fine tune, and set that next goal to aim for. Right now, I'm going to go ahead and open our first poll. So while I'm talking about these next 3 KPIs, you can go ahead and cast your votes. Okay, so today we're going to talk about customer satisfaction, NPS, and also our CES. So CSAT, that's why we're all here today, right? It determines satisfaction with a certain topic, short-term happiness. How satisfied are you with your recent interaction? This could be on a scale from very unsatisfied all the way up to very satisfied. So meaning that the higher the number, the more satisfied your customer is. The good thing about this is that you can ask an array of questions, right? How satisfied are you with the technician, with the solution, the time it took to resolve, your overall support group, and really hone in on why your customers are, satisfied or, as it be may, dissatisfied. Your Net Promoter Score, NPS. This is going to discover long-term happiness, customer loyalty. On a scale of 0 to 10, how likely are you to recommend us? So a 9 to 10, that could mean that your customer is a promoter. They're going to recommend you. 7 to 8, your customer's passive. It's a very kind of like coin toss whether or not they're going to recommend you. And 0 to 6, your customer is considered a detractor. They are not going to recommend you. Customer effort score. Now, this is one that you may or may not be tracking today. So how much effort did your customer have to spend in order to get what they needed from you? This helps you focus on improving areas that may frustrate your customers the most. The aim is for the interaction to be as effortless as possible. So how easy did we make your recent interaction? This could be from strongly disagree all the way up to strongly agree. The higher the number means that you're making it easy for your customers, but the lower the number, it means that they're spending way too much effort to interact with you. I'm going to go ahead and close the poll and share the results. Okay. So what we're looking at here is 75% of you are doing CSAT. 58% of you are not doing NPS, and about 58% are doing customer effort. All right. All right, I'll stop sharing those results. So in short, we want you to turn on surveys and start using them today. Okay. We're going to walk through ServiceNow from the perspective of some key players. First, we have Beth. She is our CTO. In order to make those business decisions, she has to have insight into our current performance. Now, Joe, he needs help with his phone today. So we're going to take a look at Joe. And then also Jane. Jane works on the service desk, and her objective is to help Joe with his problem. Let's start with the end result in mind. So we talked about the 3 main KPIs for customer satisfaction, but what other metrics can we use to gain insight and improve service? Okay, one of ServiceNow's most useful features is dashboards. Not only can we create traditional reports, but you can see reports grouped together using a graphical representation. ServiceNow's performance analytics can also be used in conjunction with dashboards to provide a trend analysis over time, and you can see your data in context. So here we have Beth's dashboard. As a CTO, she has some interests that are going to be very, very specific to her in IT leadership. We can see she is tracking service availability, the cost of service, as well as customer satisfaction. Here, we can find the service availability trend. So while we see the availability on the blue line kind of going up and down over time, we do see that there is a trend line, this orange line that is going down. Now, just general availability, maybe that's not useful. However, being able to break down the availability trends into those services will provide that additional insight. So maybe you're looking for the service that's actually having uptime issues. Same for cost trends. Is there a service that is costing more over time? We can definitely see that the trend line is going up. Is that having to do with a particular group, a support group that needs more training? Is it a particular service? What is happening in our environment so that I can make decisions? Now, responsiveness trend. That's mean time to resolve and your first call resolution. Those two things are on the forefront of the metrics that directly correlate to your customer's satisfaction. And we can also break that down even further to see what are those services that are having issues, pinpoint where we can actually make those improvements. Let's also take a look at health scores. Now, these health scores, they actually consolidate several indicators all wrapped into one. So while we have a customer experience health score of 48, that's actually comprised of these indicators down here. So average resolution time, percentage of reopened incidents, overdue records. So those overdue records are going to be tied into your service level agreements and whether or not you are managing them well. If we kind of scroll back up, we can see the performance health score. Now that is comprised of percentage of records not updated in 30 days. We can see average age here, and then we can see average reassignments for our open incidents. So if we're playing hot potato and reassigning an incident to a new technician, then how can our customer be satisfied? So we want to make sure that we are able to pinpoint where the dissatisfaction is so we can start our improvement plan. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and launch poll number 2. Let's see, just a second. And I've opened that up so you guys can start voting. And we're going to look at how we can achieve some of those metrics. So here I am as Jane. Now Jane is our service desk worker, right? And she's going to have a variety of different interests than Beth and her dashboard. Okay, so if I actually show you what this interaction is like from Joe's perspective and then change over to Jane, we can see how she's able to fulfill his request. So Joe has come to our service portal and he has an issue with his phone, right? He sees the screen, it just says registering. He doesn't see his phone lines. He's not able to actually make any calls with it. There's no dial tone, okay? So he's come to our portal. The portal is where he goes for everything. And, going for help for his phone is gonna be just the same. At the top, we do see a banner that says PeopleSoft users are experiencing a slowness. Now, if this had said people are experiencing a phone issue, then Joe would know there's already an issue going on and I don't actually need to submit an incident or let anybody know. They're already working on it. However, this is PeopleSoft and that doesn't relate to Joe's issue. So if we go ahead and scroll down just a little bit, there's some widgets here that are going to be very useful to Joe. You've got order. Now, we don't need to order anything because Joe has a phone problem. He already has a phone. Learn. Now, we may actually want to go and learn something from our knowledge base. Get help. We probably are going to need some help in just a second. And we're also able to ask others, within our community, our peers, for assistance if they've experienced the same kind of issue. So we do have some options here, as well as, not only do we have a status for PeopleSoft, we do see that there's a degradation in the electronic messaging service as well. So neither of these are related to Joe's issue, but he can see what's going on. Now, while Joe did not come here to work on his approvals, those things are on the service portal. So again, we're putting all of the things that are most useful to him in his day-to-day life in one location. So he'll probably come back and take a look at those. You can also see the incidents that have previously been logged by him and take a look at the status and just see, what's going on with those. We can also take a look at top KB articles. So if other people were having a similar phone issue, then maybe that would come at the top of the list. That would catch Joe's eye, and he'd be able to look at that article in self-help immediately. And the same with questions within the community. Maybe there was something phone related that would be of use to Joe. We're not exactly seeing everything that, that anything that's very relevant to Joe's phone issue right now. So we're going to use this search bar. Now, the search bar is really powerful in the fact that it'll produce a variety of results. So this could be, for instance, the phone and voicemail request. We can do one of those. You could order a phone. That's not exactly what we're looking for, but we do see this gem right here, and it sounds a little bit like what we're looking for. Now, do you realize that the portal and even the search, it's all role-based. So that means that anything that Joe does not have access to will not be in the search results or displayed to him. Now let's go ahead and take a look at this knowledge article. So the knowledge article, it says we've got a VoIP phone that's registering. Yep, that sounds exactly like what Joe's experiencing right now. It is for Cisco phones. Yep, that's what we have. So we do have some instructions right here. It says flip the phone over to view the phone cables. All right, so that's what Joe's going to do. He's going to try and self-remediate. He unplugs the cable for the power and the network as well. He waits 30 seconds, and then he plugs them back in and gives it a minute or two to register. Now, if after a couple of minutes the phone comes back and it's usable, we don't need to go any further, right? We've resolved our own issue. That's an example of incident deflection, meaning that we didn't have to open an incident in order to get help. So once we involve support, immediately, that service becomes more expensive. So the more that we can focus on incident deflection, the cheaper that this is going to be. But that unfortunately did not resolve Joe's issue. So here it says if it never loads and the phone lines do not come up, go ahead and create an incident. So simply by clicking on this hyperlink, we're able to open an incident. Now, if you notice, this form is only asking for 2 pieces of information from Joe. It's only asking for how urgent is this and describe the nature of your issue. Now, the reason for that is you do not want to make the interaction, more difficult than it really needs to be. So, of course, that directly relates to that customer effort score and, their satisfaction. But also service portal adoption. If you make it difficult and you've got a form with 1,000 fields to fill out, then of course he's not going to want to come back. He's just going to call or email you directly or work around the system. So make your service portal as easy to use as possible. Now, if you notice, once I put in my description here, I do have some results here at the bottom. If Joe hadn't already looked at the knowledge article, here's one more opportunity for incident deflection. By populating results from the knowledge base, we're giving another chance for Joe to self-remediate. So he can see this is the same knowledge article that I've actually already looked at, and it didn't help me. So I'm going to go ahead and submit. Okay. Once we get that incident submitted, Joe's able to see the status of what's going on. He could see the state is new, we do have a priority, and at any point in time, Joe can come back and take a look at the status, and that way he's able to use the portal, to keep up with what's going on, just like he can his other incidents. I'm going to go ahead and end polling right now and share those results with you. All right, so it looks like 78% of you guys are already doing portal, and you guys are allowing your customers to log and track incidents and or requests. You're also providing knowledge base to your customers, And then as far as the state of your knowledge management, so we've got it centralized, but needs some, needs some work. Some have a pretty well developed one. Some don't. 22% don't have a knowledge management at all, and others, they have it centralized. So, okay, very interesting results. Okay, so let's stop sharing that for now. And let's go take a look back over at Jane. So again, we mentioned that her dashboard is going to be very different, right? So in addition to that self-service portal that we just saw from Joe's perspective, ServiceNow can also help streamline activities on the back end to help provide seamless service. So Jane's dashboard, when she comes in and logs in for the first time today, these items are what are going to drive her workload, help her provide customer support even more quickly by providing some very important information immediately. So for example, we have unassigned incidents and overdue incidents. Those two things are going to be very key to what Jane does when she logs on for the day. And we have critical and open problems, critical open problems as well as critical open changes. So a lot of problems, they usually cause like a bunch of incidents. So we want to make sure that she is aware of anything that's out there right now and is known and is in a state of being worked on. But also those critical changes. So I think I saw a statistic that was something like 85% of incidents are caused by changes in the environment. Sometimes we are our own worst enemy and we implement changes that later on cause service issues. So those are going to be very important things for Jane as she's working the service desk today. And then you can also see incidents older than 7 days. We want to make sure that our incidents are not stale, that they're being managed, and that that mean time to resolution is being met and going down. So let's scroll back up. These are interactive widgets on the dashboard, which means that I can actually click directly into them and it will take me to the list of unassigned incidents. And here we could see Joe's incident that he just submitted. So this is the incident form, and up top we do have a workflow that we're going to be guided through. It starts with incident logging, which was done by Joe, classification and prioritization, those things kind of like triage activities. And then later on, we're going to go through investigate and diagnose. We have to go through all of these steps before we can resolve and even close this incident. Based on the information that Joe provided, we use business rules in order to auto-populate a lot of these fields. So the quicker I can populate some of this information, the quicker that I can actually resolve his issue. Instead of going through all of these fields and manually selecting them, let's speed things up just a little bit. So from the word phone, for example, we've got a rule in here that says phone system. We know what business service is already being impacted. We have Joe's particular configuration item, his phone. Now, this could be as a result of a larger issue from an upstream CI in the CMDB. So having that information readily available for you right there is very handy. Categorization for reporting reasons, impact and urgency, as well as assignment group. We know that this has already been put into the service desk queue. So we were able to pick that up and start working on it. Down below, you'll see we have some additional reporting. Now, technicians can gain insight from other incidents that might be related to this one, helping them take action more quickly. So having that in-context reporting is very useful. And then we go down and let's look at these service level agreements. We have 2 SLAs that are currently running. We have response and resolution. You can see that they're both in progress. Now, based on the service levels that you have negotiated with your organization and along with your business organization schedule, we can manage those SLAs and help you capture your performance, how you guys are doing based on those negotiated service levels. Okay, now up here you'll see I've got a couple of buttons. Now there's one assigned to me. I'm going to go ahead and click that button inside of ServiceNow. Those are called UI actions. Now the UI actions, with just one click, I was able to do a couple of things. If you notice, we're now in the investigate and diagnose stage of the workflow. We can also see that I have automatically assigned it to Jane. And then down here, we have completed our SLA for response time. So these things are all very helpful to automate and help smooth along, streamline that process. All right, let's go ahead and scroll up. Just like Joe, who was able to, get results from the knowledge base just by typing in his short description, we also have some results from the knowledge base. So that's helping your internal support, be able to help our customers even faster. Let's go ahead and take a look at this one. We can see this sounds like Joe's issue. It's registering and nothing's happening. Jane went ahead and contacted Joe and confirmed that he actually followed that other knowledge base and walked through all of those steps. So after confirming that, she obtains the necessary information like MAC, IP, switch port number, figure out what VLAN that phone is actually in. If the phone is not in VLAN 4, create normal change. So this is documenting our defined processes to maintain consistent and expedite that resolution. All right. I do have an application menu, and this provides a lot of information that, like a lot of quick links for activities that Jane does every single day. And one of those is create normal change. Let's go ahead and do that. And what we'll see is that we'll have a lot of these same consistencies between incident form and also the change form. We're going to also have a workflow that populates and will have a process that's been streamlined and defined, for the change management process. So we all know that there are, 3 general standard types of changes as far as ITIL goes, standard, normal, and emergency. And the ServiceNow helps streamline all of those things. So here is our change form. And here is the workflow that we're going to kind of walk through for the change process. Now, we can see that based on this short description here that was also provided by Joe, we can do a lot of the same things that we did for the incident form. We can auto-populate that configuration item, the category, the priority. We can also, different to change is the risk and that impact. Our assignment group is going to be the network group. So now our network team, they have this change sitting in their queue ready to work, just like that. Once they pick up this change request, they will assign to them just like Jane did her incident. And then they'll also be required to go through these steps. So there's going to be some information to help streamline the process for change. Things like, what's your implementation plan? What's your backout plan? All of those things that are absolutely necessary, and including scheduling. So is your schedule within a maintenance window, or is there a conflict going on? Those things will help your change advisory board, your CAB, when it comes to the approval process. Now this change is in the network team's queue and ready for them to work on, but I'm going to go ahead and go back to our incident form. Now Jane was just alerted that the change is complete and the network team is done. Everything should be fixed. We're going to take a look and go to activities. We're going to let Joe know what's going on. I'll post that so that Joe can get the message that everything should be back to normal. And again, up here with our buttons, we're going to hit resolve. But I'm being notified that I need to fill out resolution code and resolution notes. Okay, so let me scroll down a little bit, and I see right here, there we go. That is waiting for me to fill out some mandatory information about how this was resolved. So I'll go ahead and submit that information, and I can also hit resolve again, and now we're done. So let's go ahead back to Joe at the portal. He sees Jan's message. He looks at his phone. Obviously, he sees his phone lines. Everything is working. The state of his incident is resolved, and everything looks great. So automating, on the back end is really going to help streamline this process. It's going to help resolve those issues faster and result in happier customers. Okay, so let's just do a little bit of a recap. We talked about those 3 main KPIs. We talked about the supporting metrics like MTTR, FCR, those kinds of things that are really going to help pinpoint why your scores are the way they are. I talked about service level management as well, and how performance analytics in conjunction with those dashboards can really provide that insight, faster, quicker graphical representation. Talked about the service portal, how you can make that more user-friendly, drive that traffic to self-serve, and reduce the cost of support. Knowledge management, not only did we see it external from the service portal, we also saw that internally from Jane's perspective on how she could provide Joe quicker support. Also talked about some of those pretty basic process automation with business rules, workflow, UI actions that you can help expedite that support as well. I want you to share the changes that you have made with customers. If they know that the feedback they're providing you is actually helpful, they're going to feel invested and apt to continue taking those surveys and really continue providing you that feedback. So celebrate your successes with your customers. It's very important. Some people do it in the form of a newsletter, a portal banner. I think in the past I've used little conversational scripts. I gave them to my technician to help fill dead air on the phones. Anything that you can do to convey how you've been able to help, streamline processes, refresh self-help articles, just the ways that you've been able to provide more consistent service, and that way they can see how they're making an impact. Now, if you are considering ServiceNow, I also wanted to provide you some statistics on how the platform has helped save other organizations money and improve their processes. So take a look at these slides. And you can see here that P1 incidents were decreased by 25%, time to resolve was twice as fast, decreased the number of touches, improved efficiency by 20%. Due to that increased productivity, employees were able to quadruple the amount of time that on process improvements just by decreasing that resolution time for each request by 1.5 minutes. That's pretty astounding. I'm going to go ahead and open up the floor for Q&A. So I've got a little Q&A in your conference window if you want to start putting in some questions, and I'll take a look at those and try to answer them in just a few minutes. But these are some of the resources that I want to provide to you. We do have some product information. We also have technical documentation and even a community article to kind of help get you started and pointed in the right directions on those KPIs. Okay. And how can InSource help? So we can help with road mapping. We can do health assessments on either your processes or your instances. We do have experts that can do process consulting with you, really build out those processes, and even implement them as well. We can do custom training, so not just on the admin side, but also a user fulfiller side. We can also assist with licensing as well. All right, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the questions right now. I do see somebody asking, can we get a link of the presentation? And of course, we will get, I'll provide a link to the slide deck as well as the video. We're going to post those to our website, but we'll also follow up with an email. So that'll be great. Okay. I don't see any other questions at this time. But if you do have something, feel free to reach out, contact me. I will certainly help you out. And come see us at Knowledge. We're going to be at booth 1320. That is just in a couple of weeks, so make sure you get registered. I know that the session scheduler is open and ready, so take a look. If you guys need any help deciding on what sessions you think you should take, feel free. I will help you out with that. And I will see you guys there. I will be there myself, so that'll be good. Also, in our next webinar in the series, it's going to be May 30th, and we're going to discuss Let's Talk ITIL, Incident versus Request. What's the big diff? So I hope to see you guys there. We'll send out information on how to register for that event. And thank you guys so much for attending. Again, we'll follow up. Feel free to reach out to me, and I would be glad to help you guys with any of your customer satisfaction needs. Thanks, everybody.